This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Turning My PhD Experience into Career Growth, a Strategic Approach. I am Afifa, your host for this session, and it's a pleasure to have all of you here today. This event is brought to you by Biosetup Lifesciences, a hub for scientific research and learning. We are an ISO 9001:2015 certified organization committed to supporting aspiring students in life sciences through workshops, certification courses, and career counseling. We are honored to have the founder of Biosetup Life Sciences, Mr. Agadeep Das Sir, whose vision has driven our mission to elevate students' careers. I'd also like to acknowledge our coordinator, Nabamita ma'am, for her efforts in organizing this event. Now it's my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Vitoria Mattos. Dr. Vitoria earned her veterinary degree from the University of Sao Paulo and has dedicated the last 9 years to groundbreaking animal research. She is currently pursuing a PhD in biomedical science at the University of Wyoming, where she also serves as the Animal Research Compliance Coordinator. Dr. Vitoria's work spans animal nutrition, stem cell therapy, and pharmacological testing with a deep commitment to ethical research practices and regulatory compliance. Her insights today will surely offer invaluable strategies for transforming PhD experiences into substantial career growth. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Vitoria Matos. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, nice. Let's start it. I will start sharing my screen here. So we can start. Okay, so if you have some comments or have some questions, I think we can add in the chat or mark in some place and we can discuss after the meeting, after the presentation, or if you feel that you want to just open your microphone and make questions, that's fine too. So today I will talk one of the things that helped me to transition from to be a student to actually have a job, and not exactly the way I expected because I still have 1 year to finish my PhD, but it works, so I think it would be worth to share with you guys. So let's start it. So I will separate this presentation in 3 topics. So first would be how you look for opportunities, how you tailor your CV to be shown, to be, so you can appear to these opportunities, and how you choose your right focus. So okay, but how's the opportunities I have, what should I look for? So I decided to separate this presentation in 3 steps. So first we'll talk about opportunity, and I would like just to give a very brief background about myself so you can have idea about my career path, and you can also understand that it don't need to be a thing that is a straight. Sometimes you can change focus, or you discover new things, and that's fine too, to pursue later on. So I start my journey at University of São Paulo in veterinary medicine school. I got my degree there. At the same time, I started to do an internship at the University of Cambridge in a research facility, and that was amazing, opened me a lot of opportunities later on. And then I started my PhD studies at University of Wyoming, and I also, between these, I work in veterinary pharmaceutical industry and different sectors like animal experiment and actually pharmaceutical industry. So the two sides of the things. And now I am the coordinator of animal research compliance at the University of Wyoming, at the same university that I start my PhD. And so an important thing to start is okay, Victoria, how you came from Brazil to Wyoming, how this happened. And first, I think it's important to say, it's where is Wyoming? So Wyoming is one of the states of United States, just to contextualize, and we are one of the biggest states, but we have the least populated states in United States, including Alaska. Yeah, including Alaska. So we like to say that we have more horses and cows than people living here. But it's nice. It's really nice and a lot of opportunities. So Wyoming, we also are known to have the first national park in the United States, the Yellowstone Park. So we have the geysers and so this is a sulfidic water, and it's like 500 degrees plus. It's like crazy, crazy, crazy. It's really nice. Every year and once there's some accidents. That's not so cool, but it's really worth to see. And then you have the Tetons, so the connections between the tectonic plates also there, and it's real. It's not like a fake image. It's crazy. Just look that when you go there. And we also are the state with most dinosaur fossils. So most of, like, if you go to New York, probably the T-Rex or the big dinosaur is from actually Wyoming. So that's pretty interesting. And then, but again, this doesn't answer the question how I came from Brazil to Wyoming. And that's pretty much networking. So that's the first topic that I want to came and introduce to you guys, because networking is essential. And in the beginning I got a little angry because I was like, what is networking? Stop saying this word. I don't like that word, because we have this idea that networking is just like a LinkedIn or going in conference and try to talk to people. But network actually is could be and is things that are things that are much more like approachable when you do in your day to day. So what happened in Brazil, I work with stem cells organoids. I was in a vet school, but I knew I was not interested to pursue like a clinical degree or something like that. I got my vet degree, but I knew I didn't want to be like surgery or clinics, anything like that. So I knew I want to be in research. So since my first day in school, I started to do research. So I was not sure how I would do, but I start to see like what people were doing, and I start to volunteer to like follow people and grad students. So I start like doing animal research, like nutrition with horses and sheep. And then I went to, but I was like, no, I want to go on a bench. I want to be like in a lab. So I start to, and people were telling me, no, they don't do that during class time, because you need to have time to like acute yourselves and do things. So we can only do that in summer. And I was like, oh, okay, how I do that? And then I actually, in Brazil, we have these opportunities to be like undergrad pays that they help you like to support to pay your rent or something like that. And you have this professor that he has a stem cell laboratory, Professor Carlos Ambrosio, and he's great, but he also is responsible for the anatomy laboratory. So I start to work in his lab as like helping just with the anatomic pieces. And I was there like doing just my work, like I working. He told me to work from 8 to 5. I was working 8 to 5. I was also asking for things to do and make sure like I was doing properly. So like always trying to receive feedback and improve myself. And then one of the persons that's a big friend now turned to my PI and say, hey, she's good. You should invite her to be in your lab. And that's why I started working in his lab with stem cells. And in his lab, he actually has a postdoc, a PhD student, Dr. Robalo. Now it's Dr. Robalo. In the past, she was just Robalo. And she was a PhD student, and she was the first person that I started to like follow inside the lab. And she was the kind of person that likes to start work like 6:30 a.m. and she works until like 8 p.m. And I was doing classes in this time, and she was like, V, if you can call me V if you prefer. So she was like, if you want to follow me from 7 to like 7 a.m. before classes, I won't be here. I will be doing this technique if you want to follow. Or then like after your class, after like 5 p.m., I will be here doing this if you want to follow. And of course, I grab it. Like if they were telling me like I'm doing that, if you want to follow, of course I want to. Of course I want to learn. So because of that, I didn't only learn how to do like mesenchymal of stem cell culture, because she was doing IPS, she was doing like immunohistochemistry, say Western blots. So I started to learn all this type of techniques because I was just following her. And I think that's the most important part, is like to be open to people to teach you, and you be open to people like to like, I want to do that. And I was talking to some people this week. It's a little unfair because in science, like, we still do a lot of things that we are not paid for, but that's the way they will. Yeah, that's the way it happens nowadays. Not the best, but that's what happens. So I think if you want to keep going and move forward, we need just to like do it. And not the best, I agree, but I was happy and I would do again. I was undergrad, I love it. And then when I'm telling all this history, it's because she started to be a postdoc here in Wyoming, and I was doing after like a 4 years she was here in Wyoming. I left, I graduate, I start work with like animal research in any companies in Brazil. And she turned to me on a Thursday night and said, Victoria, I know this professor. He's really nice, this PI. Super amazing human being. He works with diabetes, and I already knew that I want to go more like biomedical side approach. I didn't want to be like just with, because my main research in the back when I was undergrad was like organoid development and like basic biology, and I want to be more like applicable biology. So I went to this, and she came to talk to me if I knew someone that would be interested to join the lab, and I was like, wow. Actually, if I don't have a master degree, and I was like, if it's okay to not have a master degree, I have publications, but I didn't have a master. And she was like, yeah, no, it's fine. I will talk to him and see what he thinks. His profile. Okay, so I went to him. I talked to him on a Friday night. I applied for the things on a Sunday, and because of that, I already have to have like recommendation letters and things, and people that I knew that I work with, USP, Cambridge, the company's works that I work. So like all these people were help me to provide like recommendation letters, and they give me like in 2 days, and that's like a pretty narrow period to ask someone to write your recommendation letter. So that's why it's important. Like everything you do, if you don't like what you're doing, ask to leave. If you can, ask to leave and go do another thing. If you want to like stay in a place, do your best, because people are gonna remember that. So they provide me the recommendation letters, and I got accepted on a Wednesday. Like that was the less than a week period to get my PhD program. And again, networking. And again, how I got to PhD to a coordinator position at the same university. And it's the same. I was not just doing my PhD. I was funded for by this NIH side of the state, INBRI, and they offer a lot of things to participate, like helping in conference organizations, talks, grad student evaluation. So like all the time they were offering me things to do. I was like, oh, let's do it. So what happened is most of the professors involved in INBRI, um, yeah, in INBRI, like organization, they were also related to my department of research, like of they are a cook. So like people knew who I were, like I was not just a simply grad student that was there doing PhD from Brazil. Like I was Vitoria, there was a hard work, they always be there, reliable, nice person. Because that's the thing, it doesn't matter how much things you have in your CV. What gonna put you in a work is your soft skills. It's like how you talk to people, how you manage people. That's what people are interested. It's like, okay, if you know how to analyze this graphic or do this proteomics, it's amazing. It's really nice. Shows that you are capable of reading stuff and doing stuff. But like how you relation with people, that's what keep your job and make you more interested as like a professional. So in BRI, I participate of this. They were my funding, but I also participate in everything they tell me to do. So that was really helpful to like have this community of colleagues too, because that's another thing in most of the labs in US. I don't know if you guys are already here, if you are most in India, but most of the labs in US is like you and your PI. You don't have like a huge lab group. So like if you can have other opportunities to meet people, that's important. And then I also start to participate of this WIMSI, so Women in Math, Science, and Engineering. I revive the group after the COVID-19. And again, start to meet more people, start to meet more professors, more colleagues, and we create this like networking and network. I don't like this word again, but yeah, it's like to create this net that we can like communicate and make new things. And again, I participate in other thing, this Wyoming Sensory Biology Center. It's another place that we can go, and it's also one of NIH funding, but from Colby. And I'm biomedical science. Most of these people were like neuroscience, and I was like, I'm going. And the same to meet people, to meet like professors, to just like be part of something. Because like again, I was me and my PI. If I was just doing my work 8 to 5, stay in the lab and not doing anything, I wouldn't like meet all these people. So that's important. Like always think like, oh, how I can meet other people. And like, and this is good for our science too. Like, if you want to keep in academia and have your own lab, that's good too. But you need to know people because they're gonna help you to improve your science. So again, networking. That's one I want to make pretty clear. Like all the positions I got pretty much was because of networking. Since going to Cambridge, my first experience until getting this position I'm now was networking. And then when I'm saying network, it's not like someone indicating you to be in the job. It's not that, but like people know you because you work well. They will be more trustful to say no. She's a different candidate. I think like that's better option. And yeah, so that's the way it works, and you need to start working on that. And how I say network, that's what I put more focus. It's local, because we think sometimes, I can only network when I go to conference, I can only network when I go outside, or I need to have too much things going on. No, network you can make it every day locally. You can make it with coworkers, you can make it with professors, like being helpful. My committee hiring when I was applying for this coordinator position was one of the professors. I know he wouldn't demonstrate anything, but like I help him to take care of his mice because we were in the same building and we shared the same facility. And I was like, hi, I can help you with that, because he didn't have the student in the time. I didn't need to offer anything, but I was like, I'm already doing mine, why I don't just like check on him once in a while, like the same time I'm doing mine. So it's like you be like polite and have this extra. I'm not telling people work extra time, I'm not telling you that, like the work like I always, that's what my goal, like work 8 to 5 and done. That's having a job and a PhD. It's not working with 8 to 5 now. Of course, I need to go over that. But like, if I was just in a PhD, it would be 8 to 5. If I was just in my job, it would be 8 to 5. But sometimes you need to take like this extra, and people really remember, so that's important. And another thing is LinkedIn is also amazing. I don't know if you know, but in LinkedIn you have like this group options. So you put in the search bar like the thing you are interested, and you can have a bunch of groups related to that. So right now I'm interested of like IACU coordinator and administration positions, because that's what I'm doing. So if you guys don't know what is a IACUC is the use of the committee use of animals in institutions, principally in US. That's why we call IACUC, and I'm helping that. So I'm always like putting on LinkedIn like these groups, and we can connect with people in different institutions and people that have similar jobs, and that's really helpful. And if you are not in the job yet and you are interested, you can also reach these people and say, hey, I'm thinking I'm in this way, I'm in this position right now, I'm thinking to transition for this one. What do you think it is? How is your job? How you like? What the things you think is a challenge? What is your characteristics that help you to get where you are today? And honestly, you shouldn't be afraid to ask, because people are more open than you think. So like people, for example, today Nabamita asked me like, hi, we never met before, and she was like, can you talk to here on Saturday? And I was like, sure, let's do it. So like people are more open than you think. Just keep that in mind. And confidence is also really good. Sometimes for me it's difficult, principal when you are alone. If you're in a big group of people, confidence are amazing and you can see our town. But for example, most of the conference I went, I was by myself and my PI, and that was a little hard because I talk and do all the things, but like and I did like, oh, you participate in so many groups, you must be super social. I am, but it's difficult. Like I'm better one-to-one than groups. So when I'm alone, it's very difficult to like being social. So usually I have one or two friends that I'm really like good at, but confidence is pretty much networking for your research. That's the best way. Like take your research, go on the posters, but this is like the basics. So I'm not getting too much attention on that. So the second part is tailoring your CV. So that's I think the most important part of the presentation. So I will focus a little bit longer on that. So first, it's like it's let's take a moment and look at this phrase, because that's important. Doesn't matter how good you are, if you don't put that on paper, people will never hire you. Like okay, I could have amazing network of people that was hiring the job and already know me, but if I didn't add my characteristics and my achievements in my resume, they would never know like what I achieved. Like they would never know how I was, because I wouldn't pass to their future. So first part, the CV. So curriculum vitae, it's good. So let's talk about the good parts. So it's good to tracking everything you are doing. So I still have a CV, because everything that I'm doing, for example, I'm teaching this lecture, I'm giving this talk, or I'm doing this course about IACUC administration right now, or I just published 2 articles. I'm putting everything here because I need to keep track what I'm doing. And it's really good for academia or for grants, because you don't have this um, you don't have this like a certain amount of page that you need. But for grants, actually they start to ask another biostick, something like that. It's a little bit different, but again, your CV would be a really good resource for you to track what you did, so you can like put in this biostash, or like in this other format. It's like it helps you long term. But at the same time, you can see here, that's not my intention to show you the entire thing. It's boring, but I'm just showing you that it's like almost 5 pages. So it's too long and it's not specific. It's like everything that I did here. And you can do that because I don't know if you know that, but recruiters have usually 6 seconds to scan your curriculum. And that's not going to help you long term. So you need to tailor your CV. You need to first choose the position you want, and you need to identify the key experience that's gonna help you to tailor this or your experience to the job you want. So first you need to so you can have the CV without experience, but when you are applying for a specific job, you need to focus on the most relevant aspects of your PhD work. So we're gonna go each one by these topics to discuss, and like you need to, for each one of these experience, we're not just saying like for example, I run I publish 3 papers. No, you're not doing that. You are talking about like how many people you work with, how many grants you got it, like how many. Yeah, I think most important is like these soft skills, like how you manage and how you organize the experiments. Like for example, instead of say I run Western blots, you could say like no, you standardize operations for West like for essays, and you make sure like people follow that, so you create like standardized operation standardized operation protocols for that, and make sure people following, you train people on that. So that's what people want to know from our PhD, how much you're able to writing and to analyze things. That's also thing that is like super important. So I will go through that so you can have some examples. So that's why it's important to do this resume. That's most of the jobs request a resume. So resume is short. It's max 2 pages. So like if it was a very I put 2 pages on mine because it was a coordinator position and I was expecting to be like a little high level, so they want me to do more things. So I was like, okay, I will keep on 2 pages. But if it's something very like specific and clean, you should keep on one. So depends like what you feel that you need to include, and you need to be very specific. So this is not all the things you did, it's not all the articles you published, it's not all the experiments you did. It's pretty much like taking your experiences and adding for what is related to the job. And again, what I said, it's more industry oriented. So it's like probably you're not putting your resume for applying for grants or academia positions, but for like if you want a job in industry, that pretty much what you need to do. So your resume has pretty much 6 sections. So we have your professional overview, that's pretty much a summary, core qualifications, accomplishments, experience, education, and the last topic is patents and publications if the job requests like writing, creation, and stuff. So first, I would like to read very quickly to you. This is the job position I apply for my current position, and I usually I pay attention on the essential duties and the skills. Yeah, so the essential duties, the competencies, that's pretty much like the skills they want you to have, the qualifications and the skills. That's pretty much the things you need to know when you are applying for a job. Like that's the thing you need to tailor your CV. So for each position, you need to tailor your CV again and again and again. So you make a resume for each position apply. So that's why it takes a little bit longer. But as soon like you have a specific positions that you prefer, this will be easier and easier and easier because they start to get similar. But you remember, you need to tailor them. So for example, for this position that I'm in, the essential duties was pretty much I will need to facilitate the activities of IACUC. I need to do these inspections. I need to provide a recording keeping of like the IACUC meetings, and every meeting once in a while that I participate. I need to also training people and provide making SOPs and provide like best practice on animal handling experiments. I need to be compliant with regulatory agencies, and I need to make sure I know how to do these guidelines of like animal care and welfare. So for this position, I knew that one of my key things was to making like pretty heavy on compliance and training. Like that was my main things that I got from here. I was like, I will be making here a lot of training, and I need to make sure I know how is the regulations and compliance. So I need to show them that I have experience with that and my achievements with this experience. And again, competences is kind of the same. Like they want me to have initiative, collaboration, integrity, technical, professional knowledge, attention to details, and decisiveness. These competences that will be important when you go to have your interview, because that's usually what they ask, like things around that. In my case, it was more related to like a STAR method. You can ask that later on Google. It's really nice. Instead of they ask you, what is your best quality? If they ask you that, if your best quality, they don't. But if they ask you that, you should remember to make sure you include like these competencies. But in my case, for each one of these competencies, pretty much they ask like what situation happened that one of these competencies helped me to overcome this situation, what was the result, and what was the result outcome of that. So for each questions, like I have, okay, when your attention to details happening, so I need to describe the problem, I need to describe what happened, what the attention to details result of, and what was the outcome. So like that was pretty interesting. So you need to pay attention of when they put like competencies. The qualifications is like a basic. So for here you can see they don't require a bad degree or any. They would be one of the qualifications here. They said that would be great if you have a master degree, but not required. So the only one was like bachelor. Here the experience. So they say, okay, 1 year work related experience. And I was like, okay, so if they want experience, I need to include my time doing this thing. So again, you take everything from the job description to tailor your resume. And again, best practice in like animal use protocols, animal husbandry, organization planning. So like I knew I would need to be very organized, attention to details, work with animals, and be compliance. So in training people. So that's the main things I take from here. So I was like, I need to tailor my CV to make sure I include that. And again, the skills and abilities, that's when you will take the actions and you will make sure to include that in your CV, in your resume, when you are like describing the activities you did or something like that. So in this case, again, communicate, create, formulate, investigate, decisions make again in a work team, writing. And also another thing that really helps, copy and paste. Now we work with AI. So let's talk about ChatGPT. Copy and paste, if you are really difficult to you to finding these main skills, copy and paste in ChatGPT and say, hey, can you help me to identify the most like the top 5 or top 6 skills and abilities that this job description requests. And then if this is again, after you made your resume, you can upload in ChatGPT and ask him to like match and see like, okay, give me options to improve this part to tailor more with this job description, and he gonna give you some options that you could improve. And that's like super nice, because that's the thing. I applied for this job and it was like intern job, like inside my university. So I knew it was not like a huge company with AI machine screening from all the applications, because probably they have some like dozens of applications, was not like thousands. But in most of big companies today, they do just AI checks. So like you want to make sure your CV it's passing through the AI check. So you can also use ChatGPT to enter and say, hey, can you give me feedback on this CV to make sure it will pass through the AI checking or something like that, because there's so many little points. And you can also put it on YouTube and they're gonna help you like to modify or taking things that would make you just like not checking in AI. Because if you, for example, put a plus, for example, I have 9-year experience in animal handling, whatever. If I put like 5 years plus or 9-year plus, the plus would make my CV getting out. So like just make sure you follow these rules. See YouTube videos. There's a lot of people explain that to make sure like your art is being seen by the recruiters, because that's really disappointing. So here is the model of my CV. This will be open and you can see in other places too. So clear better, like how less is more. That's the goal. So I just add my name, my main location here. If you're applying for jobs in US and you are not inside US, I don't recommend you to put your country, because that's kind of saying like to people, like as soon they say other place, they would just like skip you. So like if you're not in US, when you want to apply for jobs in US, just like leave here. Don't say anything. Don't need to put your location. I added here because I knew it was like in my town, and I think would be interesting for them to know I'm here already. So like I could work from here, and for me it was advantage. That's what I want to say. If it's not advantage to you to add a location, don't add. Don't say like don't add a location. The phone number and your email. So for the professional overview, it's pretty much 2 to 3 sentences, and need to be very like fast, and that's like what where you're gonna see you. So here I pretty much take all the things that we analyze on the job description and I put, so veterinary bachelor degree, PhD candidate, biomedical science, and then I say my experience, 9 years experience in animal research. So okay, I already check from the job description that I had then. So again, demonstrate expertise in developing, enforcing ethical protocols, because that's what they want from the job description, and maintain husbandry and biocontainment practice, because that's again what they want. And again, I had experience. You don't add anything here that you don't have experience with. If you don't have experience, don't add. Just make sure, like, just not is not just copying what they have in the job description. You need to align for your own experience. And okay, and research animals are in accordance with regulatory compliance, because I knew that's a big part of the jobs about regulatory compliance and follow policies. So it was like I need to know that I need to tell them, I need to show them that I know how to work in compliance with regulatory policies. So, and again, if you look at me in the beginning of this talk, I start to say, oh, I work with stem cells, organoids, and culture. Yes, I did all this, but I will not include here because there's nothing related to this job, and I want this job. So like you tailor your experience with the job description you have. So don't, less is more. That's what I'm telling you. So this will actually get their attention. And then again, core qualifications, it's pretty much similar to the to this part of competencies and skills. So they wanted analytical thinking. I know there's a job that involves a lot of people, so I also try to add them as like I see that is something that is their importance. So I'll say, okay, it's a job that I will have to talk a lot of people, train a lot of people, having a lot of meetings. So first part of these core qualifications need to be teamwork. So that's the first part. I need to be I need to analyze a lot of protocols, make sure it's the detail oriented. They said that like 3 times, I think, in the job description. So I need to say that I know how to like thinking critically and analyze things. So in research ethics, regulatory compliance, that's the big things. And then the other less things, but I also know that I'm able to do so. Always like a balance. What is your key experience and how they are relevant to the application, so you put in sequence so they read and they know. And accomplishments, that's the part that you sell your fish. That's what you say in Brazil. So sell your fish. It's like your results of your career, 2 or 3 topics. So like this is like the results, like the numbers that you have. So here I said executed and collaborated on multiple projects involving various animal species, because they want experience, right? So I need to say I participated in a lot of animals and different species. So I put all these species I have a familiar, I had experience with. And also they want me to, and another thing that I also put here is the coordinating creation software that I developed in Brazil. And okay, Vitoria, why you did that? I said that because this means that I work with people. That's why I included this one here, because it means that I care about compliance, because my software that I developed back in my home country is related to compliance issue, like data taking and acquisition. So like it cares about research, cares about compliance, and cares about working, because I coordinate all this creation from here, from the US. So this shows like I can coordinate people. So that's why I included here. So again, in this next part of the CV, this experience, all the skills that they want you in the job description, you need to add in this section. So the actions that are describing there, you need to make sure you describe here. So here, I started from the most recent to the oldest one, but that's I already saw other people that say you can put like the most relevant to the less relevant. And again, you don't need to include all your experience. For example, I didn't include here. I don't think so. I did include. Yeah, I don't include here that like when I'm working in São Paulo, University of São Paulo. I didn't say that I work with nutrition, horses, and ships, and laboratory anatomy. No, I did like I put like the main achievements and how they were my soft skills. So let's start from the University of Wyoming. I make sure to include for they want me right from the job description to make SOPs, to make sure to train people and make sure to be in compliance with ICOC protocols and have like this analytical thinking. So I make sure to include that here. I didn't say that I work with COVID-19 project and no, actually did the actions that helped me. So like I made accountable documentation for my experiments. I make SOPs for my experiments to make sure it was replicable for other people. I train and supervise other people. I make sure to follow ICOOK protocols because, okay, that's a very general part of my job, but that's what they want to know. That's what they want to know my experience. So that's what you're gonna add here. I could add like I work with COVID-19. I work with diabetes related neuropathic pain. Okay, I still doing that, but like that's not relevant for the job position. That's what I want to make you sure you get from this talk. Again, regulatory affairs. This was a pharmaceutical company in Brazil, and again, they want me to plan, they want me to monitor studies. I added here that I planned and I monitor veterinary studies. So I already had the experience for things they want. Again, investigated and analyzed documentations. I added here. I wouldn't say like in this job actually. I remember that I was responsible to develop like a doxycycline, drugs for for dogs, and I was like, I wouldn't include here that I did all this approach and horse supplements and marketing. I would include things that were actually specific for this car here. And then again, in your CV, you can put all this because you can like track what you're doing. But for job specific gigs, you need to be specific. And again, this is a company for animal experimentation, a farm that I also work in. Again, assisted, regulated, SOPs, specific pathogen free, because they were talking about biocontainment. So like everything that is related to the job description, you need to add in this part of experience. And again, USP, I already told you, I did much more than that, but I added things that were related to the job description. Education, this is really basic. So here, where you study, your title, and what your main if for your PhD you put your dissertation, but for bachelor degree I just put like 2 topics that I think it's most important for them to know where I have been. The certifications, again, in your CV, add all your certifications, all your courses, all your credentiations. But here, just add things that are related to the job description. And here I put like the CEST program. This is 2 courses I did back in Brazil about regulatory affairs and good clinical practice. So I added here too. And the patent and publications, if the job is pertinent with that, I would also include. So that's what I included in publications. Again, I will not add all the list of my publications because that would be like 1 or 2 pages more. You don't do that. Just add like your ORCD or like a ResearchGate, whatever, and you're good to go. Fine. Keep concise. And now there's the last 5 minutes I want to talk about a thing that really helps me and I think it will be useful for you too. It's like, okay, how I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I'm good at. Like, my idea was to do a postdoc in a research similar for what I'm for a research group similar for what I'm doing. Yeah, you can do that. That's fair. That's nice. But you can also explore other career paths. And I would like to talk to you about this. I don't know if you guys know about this science career. In it's a science. It's open journal. It's a journal, and they have this website that they help you to. So I think I can. If you just ask here, and I can show you. So this is the website pretty much. And what you do, you tell about yourself. So we have this overview, summary, personal information, and here is where you talk about your skills. And it's really nice because they don't ask you like, how you like to train people, how you like to communicate your work. It's not that. It's like they make you questions like a quiz, and they grade your skills in accordance of these questions. So it's like indirect way to access your skills, and it's really good to know yourself because I didn't know that I'm and it's good because you can access your skills, your interests, and your values. And it's pretty much these 3 points that you need to like actually know what you want to do later on in your life. So here, the values, for example, for myself, it's like I look to have like a congenital atmosphere. So like I want to work with people. And that's the thing I noticed after I started work for my PhD. That was myself and my PI. I was like, no, I need people. I need to talk to people. So that was like one of my top values, like working with people. Job security. So like I don't want to depend on grants. Honestly, I just want to have a job 8 to 5 and have benefits, and that's the second thing for me. So they really help you to like grade your values, and that's really nice. And yeah, so that's the first part that you do. So access your skills, interests, and values, and then they will consider a career fit. And that's for me the amazing part because you can come here and they can tell you like what matches with your skills and you're interested. So I can see here for me appears like sales and marketing, drug device, science writing, intellectual property, science policy, clinical. And it's funny because right now I'm actually like here research administration with like the article coordinating. So it's like that's right, like I really like that. And this is like just a open door that you can start investigate. It's not exactly the job description, like you will probably need to like know this is like just one general area that is not straight academic that you could go. So just keep open on that. Like you can put like research administration, put in chat GPT or perplexity, and you tell like options of actually jobs that you can go and look for, and that's really helps. And I love these sets because you can see like what actually matches with you and what actually like is your interest. And you can also help to organize your PhD if you want to like set your goals and long and short term goals. So it's really nice. That's what I want to show you here. So yeah, that's what I told you. Your values, and that's so important because you need to know yourself before you start looking for a job. You need to know what you want. So conclusions that I want to tell you is like for opportunity, remember to do the networking for telling your CV. Remember to add your resume and your soft skills. And for choosing the right focus to decide what you want to do, I really recommend my IDP, but you can also have other resources. And is that free to answer questions, or if you have anything more, you're free to like open the chat too, or yes, I will, I think, stop sharing it. I will let open the screen just in case you want to go back to some part of the presentation. So I know they have these questions, how fresher can apply like what we can write in experience section. So again, I think that's a good option here. I will just show this part. For this is undergrad. This part is undergrad, and like I if you involve with a different group of researchers, if you know how to deal with people, like you can apply, like you, it's the way you sell yourself. It's the way like you learn about the soft skills description and tailor that to the job description. And about you say like apply for a job position, or you say like apply for like PhD degree, because that's like what I'm saying, like everybody here has experience, so like sometimes people has more years than you, but like it's your results that make that difference, you know. So
Okay, if you have any query, please drop into the chat box, or either you could open your microphone on and directly ask her.
yeah, so I saw some questions here about the asking about master. Yeah, so people asking here how to pursue a PhD abroad. So the general application, it's main two steps. So it starts on June. No, sorry. It starts on November, and you apply for the schools. And the schools will process your application and probably submit you with the PI, and then you need to apply for like scholarships. But another way to go, and I prefer the second option, is that you start reaching the PIs and see if they have openings, and you start talking direct to them. So if you do that, I think you have a better options to be in a lab that you prefer, and you can also not just asking PIs, but ask like PhD students and see like what they think about their. Because I know when you are outside, you think I'm just want to have a work here, like I just want to be in US or something like that. But it's really important to your PI, because you'll be here, you'll be with him or with her for 4 to 5, 6 years. So if the person is really hard working, like it's really difficult to work with, you don't want to be with them. So like always like what my strategy, I had a strategy and it was everything from the through the window, because I just received like this opportunity. But my strategy would be go to the universities you are interested. Make a list of your top 10 universities. Go to these universities, go to the departments and look professor by professor until you see some list of professors for each university that aligns with your goals. And then for each university, take one professor per time and you send them direct emails. But when I say send a mail, you are not. I will just stop in sharing here because I think we not be related to. When you are asking them, when you're sending them emails, present yourself. Make sure again to tailor the email to the professor goal, professor field. So like you're gonna read their articles, you're gonna make sure like you see their research group, and you write them like, hey, my name is da da da, I'm a da 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 undergrad or grad student in la la la, and I also work with da 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 related to this research. Say the articles you read about him, how much you appreciate his work, and then you say there's opportunity for a summer job, because summer jobs are things that people usually pay you to be here too. So that's a good way to know the professor. But if you can say a summer job or a PhD opportunity for the next fall, because here we start on fall, so like people start coming in August. So you can say that, and they are usually pretty open, like people need PhD students, so they're like they would be really helpful, and it's easier to contact them and then you start the process from the university than do the inverse. Um, yeah, so regarding the internship facilities for grad students, that's what I told you about the summer job. And I don't think the University of Wyoming has, but like bigger universities like Harvard, MIT, they do a lot. And it's a really good opportunity for you to spend like 3 months here and knowing the lab before you apply for like a PhD, and they know you, so that's really nice. How to get funding for PhD. So for international students are really difficult because we don't have that much funding opportunity. What happens is if your professor has a NIH funding or you have a Fulbright that you can apply from your country, and you already have here, that's a way that you can get funded. But usually it's your PI job to like look for fundings for you. We have some fundings, for example, in the case of biomedical science, I'm in the pharmacy department, so I apply for some like PharmD fundings or something like that. But most of the fundings come from your PI. And if your PI doesn't have like a specific funding for you, what's gonna happen is probably you will be GA. So a TA, GA, so you will teach other classes and that will be your funding. So your salary and your tuition. But it's like I did and was really nice. I met a lot. And I like to meet people. I like to talk to people. So I did the TA job for like a year almost. And it's really helped me to like, and again, you're doing the teaching, you are training people, you are talking to people. So that's also experience for you. Um, let's see other things we have here in the chat. Is there okay, yeah, so that's about the what are the criteria for PhD in abroad. Is there any English language speaking test necessary like TOEFL? No. Yes, so you need to have a TOEFL, and in some universities like Wyoming they start to accept Duolingo, and Duolingo is much easier, it's so fine. And for TOEFL and ESL and stuff. I just remember I will just like you guys have English as first language too, right? I'm not sure, but like in Brazil we have Portuguese, so it's complicated. But for all these language exams, you just need to make sure to train for them, and it's not like you don't need to be expert in English. You just need to like know what they expect as answers and their structure. So you have again a bunch of YouTube videos to help with that. Like it's really nice, and they have other things that they may ask. Depends of the PhD program. They can ask you to have like a math test or something like that. It's like a common standardization test. They can also ask you that. So but if you have publications, maybe they waiver. That was my case. So depends of the PhD program. You need to look at the one you are interested in. And how could you merge industrial experience with PhD thesis? So for me, what I did was all my animal experiments and what industry gave me. Industry helped me and they taught me how to be standardized. So how to create forms, how to create SOPs to make my work better standardized. So I use this experience with industry to like how to optimize my time, how to standardize my work in forms to make sure I follow that with my research. So like that's what happened with my thesis. So actually it's funny because right now I'm writing the thesis and it's like I have these annexes and I have like okay, I started writing 150 pages of thesis like results and methods. I have 150 pages of annexes because I have all my SOPs, my forms, and everything that I use to do my research. And that's the thing that I believe is an improvement for academia because people don't really we academia is still a lot with like a lab notebook, but we don't have any standardization on that, and that's bad because like if you need to look at experiments back in a year, you don't really understand what happened there. It's difficult to find data, and when you use forms and you standardize, that make your life so much easier, like in compliance with things. So that's how industry experience helped me with my PhD. And to make sure in PhD, you also need to train people. You also need to like talk to people, and that's what industry helps you with the experience too. So you can also say that to them. And yeah, and all like the techniques you did in industry or research, you can also bring that to academia. Um, So about career gaps, don't need to worry about that. When you are adding your experience, don't add the time. That's what I'm saying. If you have like some things that are not gonna help you, don't add it. Like you want to apply for a job that is in a different country, don't add location. If you have a career gaps, for example, 2 or 3 years on different and it didn't work or something happened, just add experience, don't need to add the time. It's people sometimes they say, but that's strange, but like nobody really cares. Like just like and then in the description you can say, I work 1 year with la la la, I work 2 years, but in the description, the title, you don't need to add like this the time frame, like 2020, 2022. Don't need to add. So I think that's helped a lot. Learning AI, I'm not sure if it's necessary or not, but my beliefs is that like people that don't work with AI will be replaced. That's my opinion. Like it's not because like I don't know how to code. I'm not saying that you need to know how to code and do everything, but you need to know how to optimize your games. And probably we will come more softwares, principally in pharmaceutical development related to AI for like drug delivery, drug assessments, and so like in future they will come for us. So I think we just need to be open and make sure like we are on top of that. Um, so in Wyoming we have facility and startup incubation. It's really nice actually. It's a small and we have it's really interesting. So Wyoming we have uh, live startup incubation. Um, so this question is really nice from Suita. Is there any chance to work as assistant research officer while you're doing master program? So you can work with a lab assistant. That would be one of the fundings from your PI. But for example, in your case, if you want to work like me, for example, right now I am this animal research coordinator. I can't. What happened? I will be honest with you. So I currently need to master out to get my OPT because when we come to US, you guys will be in F1 visa or G1, but in these two cases, I already tell you G1 is not a good option because they kind of make you go back to your country after you finish and it's a little chaos. So most of people came in F1. In F1 visa, you are a student, so you are not able to work more than 20 hours a week. So if it is assistant research officer is a 20 hours gig, you are good to go. But if it's more than that, like they will not allow you to work in your F1 visa status, and probably they're not gonna give way to B1 visa, and that's what happened to me. So like right now, I'm a mastering out to get this OPT, this work permit, and then after I get the OPT, I will start my green card process and then come back to PhD and finish. But like it's really complicated. And so I would say if you want to do a master degree, make sure you have funding, tuition, do a master. After you get your title, you apply for a assistant research officer. I think that's the safer way to go because in my situation right now, like I don't have any benefit anything like that because I'm in this like a transition part. So it's really complicated. If I was in the middle of my PhD, like I wouldn't even finish. I would have to get a master and be with that. So let's see. Um, depends the duration for the PhD here in US depends of your program. My program is to 4 to 6 years. So for example, I was in my 3.5 years now and I want to graduate because I got this job. And it was like I want to graduate. And I could graduate because I had a lot of like results and publications, but I couldn't because my program is at least 4 years. So like depends of your program. Um, yeah, to add one day webinar in. So one day of webinar of your resume depends. Like again, depends about what is this webinar. If it's something very specific to the career, for example, I took this one day webinar related to regulation affairs in USA about animal research. I would add if I didn't have more things to add that would be important as the topic, I would add. But like again, depends of what the things you have. If it's a one day seminar that's nothing related, or if you have like a lot of one day seminars but kind of the same topics, you could just put in one line like 35 webinars related to blah blah topics. So maybe that could help too. Is there any online or offline courses which will help us in future, or we can do simultaneous with masters or jobs? Um, I think you can. For this last question, you say like courses about PhD or courses like professional development courses because like you can do. I think there's this platform Coursera that you can have like a bunch of courses for free and you can just like get there and have a bunch of options, so you could also look that. And again, for masters or jobs, just make sure you're not doing both at the same time because your visa, because I have this problem right now, so I'm telling everybody, I'm spreading the word like please don't work and don't try to study and work at the same time, not gonna happen. And yeah, but it's pretty much that. And yeah, so my I will put my mail in the chat if you guys want to talk and in future have some question. I'm super open to. And yeah, adding certification or internship experience sections will help it for a job for sure. Like that's what I did. Like my when I did the internship for Cambridge, I added, and again, it shows that you are adaptable, shows that you can work with people. So super added. Yeah. Okay, I think it's there for today. I think.
Anything else? More questions?
I think we have covered all the questions for today. Or are there any more questions? Please type them into the chat box. Okay, I think we are done. So,
Yes.
thank you, Dr. Vitoria, for that insightful presentation. And as we conclude today's session, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to Dr. Vitoria for sharing her expertise and to all of you for your active participation. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. And dear participants, please, I'll be sharing the feedback link in the chat box. Please make sure to fill the form so that we can improve our future webinars and provide the best experience for you all. And please make sure to fill the form so that we can provide you certificates. I have shared the feedback link in the chat box. Please make sure to submit the form before you leave the meeting. We hope this webinar has provided you with valuable insights to guide your career journey. Please stay connected with Biosetup Life Sciences for more such enriching opportunities. Have a great day ahead. Thank you so much.